Hi there, and thank you for clicking on the video. We're just going to be talking about an old meta, and I guess a potential Brahma build as sort of like, I don't know, proof of work. Um, a lot of the newer players, a lot of the newer players in the Clan and Alliance weren't around before the ammo nerf, especially the MR5s, MR6s, so they weren't around to see the sort of running joke that it was that people would get carried into their first, Lich mission, and you would see like MR5, MR6, MR7 players running around with like five form of Brahmas and Nucors. Um, but due to the ammo nerf, I've seen a lot of people talk about how like the Brahma and the Tsar aren't good, and I think a lot of this has to do with basically how DE generally goes about nerfing things. Very loose generalization. If something has a innate thing to it that uh, is sort of overdone, DE's way of generally nerfing it, if you will, is remove its functionality and make you mod for it. So you can get the same thing. Like they did this going from Melee 2.0 to Melee 3.0 with like the combo counter mods, like Condition Overload. Uh, they reduced its benefits. It went from 120 to 80, and it's no longer multiplicative. But they compensated by making it super easy to stack statuses. Blood Rush got nerfed from what was it, 60 to 40, but now we have a bunch of frames that can give crit chance, and you can still get the crit chance with like varying mods. They added more mods that allow you to make space to fit crit chance arcanes. So it's always a give and take. The pain was when we didn't have the ability, or I guess like the common knowledge, if you will, to run like carrier and like the scavenger auras. Those are really, really powerful now. On weapons with small ammo pools and small pickups, right? So this is sort of like an example build. I think I'm like 70 minutes. What am I into? 70 minutes. Oh, okay. That's not accurate. Um, I'm about 70 minutes into the survival. Very, very relaxing. I'm running a Rhino. I've got Avenger on. Corrosive Projection. I'm running Carrier Prime. Um, and a Brahma that's been modified mod wise to be able to deal with the bonuses that Rhino gives and to be able to compensate for the ammo pool. So Carrier's doing a big favor. We're running Carrier because it's basically a free ammo mutation. And the fact is that by equipping Avenger and using Rhino, it frees up a mod slot. Oh, and we have Arcane Acceleration. It frees up so many mod slots on the weapon that the ammo issue isn't that big of a deal because I'm killing so fast. Now, if I wanted to do like say like a level cap, I'd probably feel a little more comfortable running like an ammo mod. But this is just going to be a little bit of gameplay. I'm going to go to the next acolyte, and then I'll show the build, and we'll talk about modding. I was just doing this run, messing around with it because I was watching a stream where it was Flo's stream, and he was doing builds for Kuva weapons, and like I saw people going, oh, the Brahma and the Tsar aren't that good anymore. Now, granted, we have Incarnons, and they do shit tons of damage. Okay? But the fact is the Brahma, if you mod for it properly, can compete on par kill-wise with, like, the recent Incarnons. Like, I'm 70 minutes in, I'm at 8,700 kills, so it's not an insane pace, but it is a decent pace. So, anyway, we'll go to the next Acolyte, and then we'll talk about the build, talk about how it works, why you need to mod specific things. When they nerf stuff, the worst case that happens is it makes the build more restrictive. Like, they take away choices, right? Like, you gotta run carrier on these smaller setups, or if you're doing, like, you can do like a rifle scavenger setup, where 2 or 3 people stack rifle scavenger auras on like an arbitration, and you run like a Protea or something like that. There are ways to get around it, but it makes the playstyle or the options that you have, the flexibility in your builds, very, very limited. So, all right, let's get back into it. Just go ahead and get my stacks built back up. And how we've modded. Oh, and the enemies are just over level 300. It's nothing insane. But it's just, it kind of made me a little sad because the Brahma is like, I don't know, more or less, unless it's like an Incarnon, the last time we had a weapon that was like super strong on its own. You know what I mean? Like, when you had it, you felt strong. Now the build is, honestly, as I instantly die, the build is pretty basic. Yeah, I probably should have ran like handspring or done more of a iron skin focus build. So we're not going to focus on the iron skin aspect, but just modding around getting the damage up on the weapon. I'll come out with a proper iron skin build that patches this up. Actually, this is sort of a modification of Mythical's and Amal's build, except without the survivability, which I probably should have. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to be in here this long. So we're against Corrupted, right? So it's a toxin. It's a toxin hunter munitions build, so it's a dot build, but we're still hitting hard enough to one-shot stuff. But it is what it is, right? But yeah, the Brahma and like the Tsar, well, specifically the Brahma on release, was very, very overtuned, admittedly. It had a lot of bomblets. It had a lot of multi-hit. Where are you flying? It had a ton of instances of damage. It was capable of basically out of the box, unrivened, with no other buffs, going against like 1k. It was very, very Very potent. And we don't really have a weapon like that anymore, where a new player can get a hold of it and really get accelerated. Like right now, the meta is kind of rush new bros to the Zeraman, get them hooked up with like a Fenmore or a Felarx, and then you get your Deviri weapons, and then you farm up one of those. Of course I'm talking. I've been in here for an hour and a half. But anyway, we really don't have any sort of a weapon that a new bro can get that'll accelerate them, right? So the fact is that knowing how to mod, knowing what to get, kind of only became more complicated. Like, I'm not going to expect a new bro to be able to get this build particularly. Maybe the acceleration, because it's not that hard to get acceleration. At least before the re-rolling system for arcanes come out. I think a lot of the cheaper arcanes are going to spike in value because people are just going to be rolling them. Like, the Steel Path arcanes are absolutely dirt cheap now. And you can get one for like a couple of P, like less than 10, as a rank 5. But as soon as the re-rolling comes into play, people are going to go to those first, right? So then you're going to have things like the Zeraman farm. Like, if people get a mod drop booster, they're immediately going to run to the people that have the ability to do like a level cap cascade are immediately going to run there. If you have a mod drop booster and you're willing to do a level cap, like the Zeraman, a Void Cascade on Steel Path on the Zeraman, when you have standing, is going to be like a tier 0 arcane farm. Right? So there are going to be places that are going to be worthwhile. The Conjunction Survival, if you enjoy doing survivals, the Conjunction Survival with a mod drop booster is going to be another big thing, because there's no cap on the amount of arcanes that you can get from there. So if you enjoy doing long runs and you're not really an Eidolon runner, you can run here. I don't know. This is just sort of like a small rant to talk about building around stuff, right? So we have our Rhino. I didn't build enough for Iron Skin, so the Iron Skin was super weak. I think I got up to like 20k. It was literally nothing, right? But just something to keep you alive. I got about an hour in before I started dying. You saw me die at the end, and I had gone down like once before. But I didn't die on that one, right? So Avenger to get some additional crit chance using the trick of Iron Skin. To be able to proc this. Acceleration. Removes a mod off the Brahma that I need to apply. Because I want a double dot build. Because it's corrupted, you got to do Toxin Hunter Munitions, right? Nourish helps with, obviously, energy economy, but it also applies viral onto the weapon, so we get our modded damage back, right? Roar, as strong as this was more for being able to remove the faction mod, so it's stronger, yes, but it also removes the need for a faction mod, because this stacks additively with a faction mod. And this is also one of the few ways you can get like faction onto like Void Angels and like Thrax, right? Because they don't have faction mods. So pretty basic, just a full strength. It's more of a meme build. Don't follow this too much, but the modding philosophy would still work. And the Brahma, ammo drum, 100 munitions. It's the regular build, but you need to remove mods off of it to be able to get it to be as effective as it used to. Ammo case on the carrier is super useful. It gives you like one more ammo max, not a big deal, but it also converts ammo for you. You could technically get rid of Prime Sniper ammo mutation. I like running it sometimes in case the carrier goes down. But with the Brahma doing as much damage it is, especially with the faction, the roar bonus, you tend to kill Eximus fast enough that it pops right back up, right? So if you were to run something like this, you would just, because this is a Toxin Brahma, I got a big Toxin weight, even with just like a 60-60, so I'm going to be proccing this a majority of the time. If you want to increase it, the chance, but you're going to have lower status chance. This will increase the weighting, increasing your chance of proccing a Toxin Dot while giving you more modded damage, so your crits are going to be stronger. But this is just sort of all you need to do. You get your same multipliers, but you just got to put them somewhere else. So normally we would have, normally I would run Hammer Shot on this with the Toxin setup that I was running, because this was a Toxin Brahma. I could also convert it to Viral pretty easily, and this would go here. You need Fire Rate, which is Arcane Acceleration, crit damage, for Vital Sense, and Ammo Drum is what used to be attached to Merciless, because this used to be plus 30 damage for 4 seconds, stacks up to 12, plus 30% reload speed, and ammo, right? So it made the Brahma very, very usable. Well, now they want you to mod for it, right? So that bonus that was up here goes here, and you have a free slot. So the fact is a lot of this stuff works pretty well. If you want more ammo economy, you would swap out for, they're called Scavenger Auras. Most of these are Nightwave. Squad receives plus 150% ammo recovery. And this would go here. Super basic. And this stacks additively with itself. So plus 250. If you were to pick up, say, 10 ammo, this would increase it to 25. If you run 2 of them, you can pick up quite a bit of ammo, even for something like on the Brahma. So if you're running with a squad and you guys want to bring back the Brahma, everybody equip carriers, 2 people run rifle scavenger, and then 1 runs like a aura that deals with the enemy's defense scaling, and then you got like a free one, right? And the Brahma issue is solved, especially with teamwork. It makes the dream work, right? But this stuff is pretty, it's just sort of awareness of the mods. Like once you know they exist, it's not too big of a deal to mod around. It's just a lot of people don't want to do this. But the fact is the Brahma deals so much damage, there's not much to complain about. So because I'm running Nourish, one of the things you would have to be cognizant of is you would do a big electric on this, because it's a Toxin Brahma, again, to give corrosive, and then I'm off to the races, right? Exact same build, you just swap out the element on the Brahma, and like the Tsar, Toxin's the best element, because you can make corrosive, you can make viral, you can make gas, you can leave it as Toxin to fight Corpus, and then you just mod accordingly, right? So this is pretty basic. But I just wanted to do sort of a PSA that, you know, things like the Brahma and Tsar are definitely doable. But in the age of the Incarnon, it's kind of hard to deal with. But if you want to, you know, go back to this stuff, I can't recommend Rhino more. Like, even just throwing this together in a couple of seconds, like, I was just listening to some music, And I think I watched like part of a podcast, and I realized, oh, I'm an hour into the survival. Like I didn't wasn't even intending on it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna test this out with the Avenger acceleration setup and carrier, see how it does. And this is completely fixed. You just have to mod for it. So Rhino, you don't need Avenger, but acceleration sure does help because that's freeing up a mod slot, right? That's the big thing is you're freeing up mod slots. And this is generally anytime there's like a nerf, like say for example with the Blood Rush, right? Plus 40%. This so you just mod, Gladiator Might, and sometimes I'll do like Gladiator Might, Organ Shatter, and run Berserker and Gladiator Vice, and I'm back to the old crit tier, right? You can just run Gladiator Vice instead of Berserker Fury, and then do a Arcane Strike if you have the space for it. Or instead of running double crit damage, you run Gladiator Might, Berserker Fury, Gladiator Vice, and you're getting your reds again, and you're compensating with more attack speed. They're going to hurt you a little bit, but you can also do the Glad set on the frame, right? The Glad set, in terms of armor value and health value, it's not that big of a difference from running, let's see, health. I think it's like plus 30. It's nothing. Okay, so Vitality is plus 100%. Gladiator Resolve is plus 40. And you get crit chance. You can also do armor if you're a health tanker. Steel Fiber is 100% plus 100% armor. Aegis is 40% armor, but it's a crit tier, so you can definitely get it back on there. This is obviously circumstantial depending on what frame you're using. So you do have options. They might not be ideal. But even on this, if I was doing, like was running a Mars Hatred just because it's armor and ability strength, right? But if I was doing a melee build, I could do Gladiator Aegis to scale, get some armor back and increase the scaling slightly on my Iron Skin, right? So this one gives me 5681. And the Iron Skin starts out with a Mars Hatred at 5715. So it's not that big of a difference, but I would also gain crit chance, right? So you can make it work. Just sort of a PSA. Look into what mods are available. Rhino is sort of one of the few that could run this sort of glass cannon setup. Just because your kill rate is so high, Equilibrium and Nourish interacting are able to generate so much energy. You're really not missing the Panzer. Nourish can help you replace the Panzer with its viral spores, and it adds modded damage to the Brahma. And the Nourish viral modded on the Brahma and the Roar do interact multiplicatively with each other because obviously it's Roar. Not that that's a big deal. Like most of the damage is going to be coming from the Brahma, but you can get some really good damage out of this, especially against like Grenier. Like a heavy corrosive and a Nourish build against the Grenier with like 100 munitions on the build, you're killing something, right? Just you got to solve the ammo mutation or the ammo issue, and the carrier does a lot of that, right? So pretty generic setup. I like using. Normally, I don't. But one of the things you can do that sort of helps, right? Obviously, any trick that can help is blood for ammo. Mercy kills refill primary and secondary magazine by plus 100%. Take a secondary that's strong, obviously, right? Like, don't take garbage. But if you, for whatever reason, you're spamming too hard and you run out of ammo for the Brahma, just because you're, going around just shooting, and there's ammo on the floor somewhere, but you haven't picked it up yet, take your secondary out and hit an Eximus unit and mercy kill it. And it will give you a full magazine or a full ammo pool of whatever ammo you have. on the Brahma, right? So even though you don't have like ammo that you're carrying, you have one bow in the magazine, obviously air quotes magazine, but you have like 11 in like your quiver. But I don't run where it's visible. But you have a quiver. If you mercy kill something, it refills the quiver. So if you run out, just mercy kill. Get used to mercy killing. You also get power drain. It's a good way to boost roar and whatnot. Like, this is a very powerful mod. Blood for life if you're running equilibrium. Though this doesn't interact very favorably with what is it? Energy mod. Was it energy conversion? The difference is that mod is 100%. So every time you mercy kill something, you get a full amount of energy back, and it's better for like health tankers, right? But if you want, you can do the energy one, which is a 50-50, and you'll mercy kill, so you'll get that 50% strength. 50% of the time, you'll get the energy conversion strength, so it's 100% ability strength on your next cast for with 50% of the time. And then you also have like hardened wellspring, and then you have like the, what is it, Matterize dash or whatever. But I'm a fan of the wellspring, right? But there are ways to make this work. The blood for ammo is another big one. I'm a big fan of executions and the mercy kills. It just breaks up gameplay enough that it makes it feel more dynamic, right? That's probably why they did it. And more importantly, especially against the Corpus, that shit's super effective. Obviously, it's less effective against the Grineer, but against Corpus, like, you can just bop them with it. So, especially like the really annoying Eximus, if you want to, really mow them down. But this is another way to help mitigate that. So, blood for ammo is a guaranteed reload. It'll give you the full 11 every time you use it. So, anyway, PSA out. You can mod around this stuff. Avenger helps. That's just sort of taking advantage of Rhino. If it wasn't Rhino, I wouldn't be running it. And if you want to see a more realistic build, more or less, check out Mythical and Animalistic. I'll provide a link in the bottom to them. Those guys have level cap capable Rhino builds. And if I actually came out, I said it before, but if I actually came out with like a Rhino build, it would, I think they got it right. I think I would just come to the same conclusion as those guys. Talking to them down here also. But I think they got the build right. I think that's the right build for Rhino. The only thing I would say to swap out if you're trying to do this with like a Brahma or like a Zar or something like that is instead of the duration that they run here, maybe run acceleration. Just because that frees up a mod spot, and Avenger is just boosting your crit, right? Obviously, it's a huge boost because it's flat 45, right? But the acceleration, more importantly, saves you a mod spot. So, anyway, PSA out. This is how you get around it. You have, just to cover it again, Rifle Scavenger. I wasn't using it on that run. If I was going longer and I would actually like tune to build, I would have ran Rifle Scavenger. I would have probably run the same setup. I would have adjusted the build to get more Iron Skin, because that was definitely a weakness. You can't be doing level cap with like 20k Iron Skin, right? Ammo Drum, Merciless is still the same. I was going against Corrupted. So something like this. Obviously, I went with the higher status chance. I like it. It feels good, but admittedly, the damage is a little bit lower. But that's part of the reason why we have Nourish on. It sort of fixes that. Gives us more, direct damage, if you will. And then Roar multiplies the entire thing further. So, not that it's super impressive on the Brahma, but like, the Brahma, I was hitting somewhat regularly for like just over 1 million on the initial hit, and then the dot was about the same because it's a double dot build. So roar does really well, especially when you have like double dots. But anyway, PSA done. Only a 30-minute video today. Thank you for watching, guys. If you got this far, have a blessed day.